Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I was planning to show you how to install Arch Linux the easy way. My plan was to show you my own server install script, but as it happens today Chris Titus released his Linux toolbox, which contains my script. And for disclaimer, my script is a fork of Chris's old project called Arch Titus, I believe. But I made some changes to the script, and I has contributed to this Linux Toolbox project with my changes. So it's more or less my version that's in his one, but of course he has made some tweaks and adjustments as well. And it just went public release today, or at least in the first version. But let's go over to a browser and let's download an ISO first. So you go to archlinux.org/download, and the ISO will be just a little bit over 1 gigabyte. It's pretty small. It includes the 6.10 kernel, and we can also set up an LTS kernel, of course. The recommendation here from Arch themselves is downloading the ISO through a torrent, BitTorrent, which yeah, you can do that. I think it's just 1.1 gigs. I mean, it's not gonna take that much, a long time, depending on your internet connection, I guess, but I'm gonna go for the HTTP, normal download. So we can see here we have a lot of mirrors, and since I'm in Sweden, I will go for a mirror, and Bahnhof is usually pretty quick, but I have it downloaded already, so I'm not gonna re-download it, but we are going to move it to my image folder. So sudo move downloads Arch something, Arch Linux, and move it to MNT external storage image. Down, it should be there. MNT external storage image. Yeah, so we have it here now. And all my other ISO for Linux. Close that one. And let's go over to my virtual machine. Let's create a new one. And let's grab the image. Here it is. And it automatically detected as Arch Linux. And this is overkill, but let's give it 8 gig. 96. CPU cores we can leave as is, because we're gonna adjust it in a second. Storage wise, let's create a new virtual hard drive. Keep the name, 20 gig is more than enough. Alright, choose volume, customize configuration, set it to UEFI, set it to 4 cores, and let's begin the installation. Full screen this. Let's enter the installation media. Alright, we are in. Let's clear the screen. First, we need to update our mirrors. So you do pacman-syy When that's done, then we do pacman-s curl. So here you do curl dash fssl in this manner, and then you do https://christitus.com/linux and whatever that icon is called, or letter, and sh. And now we're inside the toolbox. So we navigate down to System Setup. You see Arch Linux. Press that one, and then we select Arch Server Setup. And set a username and a super secure password. Name your machine, or host name, Arch Linux. Now we'll select. And then you select your hard drive. Make sure you pick the correct one if you have several ones. And is it an SSD, yes or no? Probably is. And select your file system. I'm gonna go with ext4. And then it will detect your time zone. Then yes, Sweden or Stockholm is correct. And here is some of my adjustments or contributions. So you can select a keyboard layout. So you have the US and a bunch of others. SC is Sweden, so let's go with that. And then it will pick the, based on your time zone, it will pick the mirrors based on that. So for me, it's gonna pick up the Swedish mirrors. Although they seem to fail a lot often for me here. It seems like it found one, because you usually get more warnings. So next it's gonna install some prerequisites and format the disks. Basically ask you for some questions. So now it's installing the base system, which was 1.3 gig, pretty small. Just let it run in the background. And now it's almost finished. Installing microcode for your CPU. And setting up the grub menu or boot menu. And by default, I know also that this script will set up a theme. A theme for the grub, which I'm not a fan of myself, but it's pretty easy to edit that or replace it. So we will go through that once we are into the system. And of course this is essentially a server install, so we're also gonna need to install some graphical interface for people. Myself is more of a window, what's it called? Window manager user. So I don't really use any desktop environment like KDE or Genome or XFCE or something like that. But for today in this video we'll install KDE, because I think that's what most people will go with. Alright, we are done. So press enter and press Q to exit, and now we'll reboot. So here's the theme that Arch, or not Arch, but the theme that Titus likes. So that's why it's here, which is fine. It's a fine theme, and you can also replace it if you like, but it's kind of whatever, I think, because I mean, how often are you gonna stare at this screen? I mean, you don't reboot your system that often. at least not with Linux. So press enter. Okay, we are in. Let's log into our account. So first let's install some packages. We can see how many our package count is. So sudo pacman-s fast fetch is one I prefer. So now we do just fast fetch, and we ended up with 192. Cool. Then let's install KDE. So sudo pacman-s, and now we're gonna add a bunch of packages here to keep a minimal KDE install, which is my preference. Gonna get the Plasma desktop and the login manager called STDM. Oops, no comma. And we're gonna need some applications as well. So Firefox. Gonna get the network manager. So Plasma-nm and Plasma-pa for audio. Oops. And we're also gonna get Dolphin, which is your file manager. For terminal, you can go with KDE's own, which is console. I prefer KDE myself, so I'll grab that as well. And then we are gonna get KDE Plasma-add-ons, KDE GTK config. We can change our look and feel, and Breeze GTK. We're also going to get something called K-Screen. We can change our screen resolution. So yeah, I think that's all. Yeah, so we'll pick number 1 here for the jack 2. And we'll stick with the Noto fonts and the FFmpeg codexes. So that's gonna give us 2.2 gigabytes in install size and additional 443 packages. Let that do its thing. It shouldn't take that much. Installing the last package. Alright, now everything is installed. So now we need to enable and start some services. So sudo systemctl enable network manager, and then you can do 2 ands or whatever they are called. Do sudo systemctl start network manager, and these 2 ands icons will means that you're telling bash here or the terminal what to do after the first command finishes. It's just saving us a little bit of typing. That's done, and now we'll enable and start the STDM service so we can get to the login screen. So we'll do same here. Replace this STDM. Now will be sent into the login screen here. So I'm gonna go with X11 here. You can go with Wayland, that's perfectly fine. But in virtual machines I have some issues with Wayland. It lags often or flickering. And the first time you log into KDE, it seems always to take a little bit to load. There we go, now it recovers. So I can see already that we missed one package, which is for Discover. And Discover is your store. So you don't have to install packages and applications from the terminal, which is my preferred way, but I get that not everyone wants to be in the terminal all the time. So to do that, we go into terminal. So I'll pick Kitty, and we'll do sudo -s discover. And we're also gonna have to run another command to be able to do anything in Discover. Because when we open it, you're gonna see it's gonna be quite empty. You're gonna need something called a backend. So you can either use Flatpak's backend or Package Kit, and I'm gonna use Package Kit. I will show you how to add the Flatpaks as well if you want to have that option. So just copy this line and do same here, pacman-s package kit-qt6. And to get Flatpaks into your store, go away Google. I think it might be on this page. So pick Arch. Oh, guess you only have to install. Maybe it's on Debian where you have to do a little bit more work. So sudo pacman was it Flatpak or FlatHub? Flatpak. And before we proceed, let's adjust our resolution, because I think it's like 1200 something right now, so it's a bit big. So we go to display and monitor. And 1920. It's a little bit slow on my end, but that's probably because we are running in a VM and it's doing a lot of things, so my virtual cores are probably at 100%. So if we do a fast fetch again, we'll see we ended up with 666 packages with a full Arch Linux install with KDE. So if you go back to Discover now, we should see some applications. And voila. Let's say you wanted to download, let's say Discord. So here you would have the default one, and you would also have the Flatpak version. I would recommend the default one personally, but choice is yours. So let's say you wanted to adjust the boot theme. So you would go into your terminal. Let's edit our grub file to adjust our theming. So I'll do sudo micro/etc default, and I think it's just called grub. So if you want your grub or system to boot into immediately without any delays, so if you won't even see the grub screen, basically you can set the timeout to 0. And let's say you wanted to adjust the theming. So let's see if we can find it here. So here, grub theme. So let's say we don't want any theme at all, then you can just do a pound sign in front of this. And let's say we're happy with this, then we just Control S, Control Q. And now we just need to update it, which you do with this command. mkconfig-o for options, and then where our config file lives, so that's boot /grub /grub.cfg, of course root, silly me. And now it's updated to grub. So now let's do a sudo reboot. And if everything done correctly, we shouldn't see any theming. Now grub menu. So here's the default without a theme. Alright, I think that's it. Thank you for staying with me, and good luck with your new Arch system. Bye bye.